So I recently made this video where I told people 3 places I did not like in India, and I recommended they avoid them if they go there on their trip. Now, I spent 7 weeks in India, starting all the way from Kochi, traveling all the way up to Delhi. Now, I visited around 15 or 16 different places in India, and I had a very interesting time. Now, of course, India gets a bad rap when it comes to cleanliness, hygiene, smell, dirt, and all that kind of stuff. It rightly or wrongly gets a lot of media attention. Now, it's very easy to jump on the bandwagon and say places that you don't like in India, but I guess now it's only fair for me to release a video on places I do like in India. So this video is basically the places I liked the most during my trip to India last year. Now, our trip started in Kochi, and Kochi is honestly one of the, if not the nicest place in India. All of South India is incredible. There is a stark difference from south to north. But anyway, yeah, we stayed in Fort Kochi, which is just like some really old, like historical fort in the middle of India. I think it's part of the colonial period, but my God, it's so nice. So the Fort Kochi is basically like a little island, and you can get the boat over to the Kochi city, and all of Kerala, you can go to the backwaters, but it's really clean. The food is really good. I love South Indian food. The people are pushy, but not too pushy. They're a lot nicer than what you get up north. So that is one place I would definitely recommend going, is Kochi, especially Fort Kochi. If you're going to stay anywhere in the Kochi area, make sure you stay in the fort because it's incredible. We had a lovely little homestay. I think it was Bastion Homestay. So if any of you guys are from India and are watching this, we stayed at Bastion Homestay. A lovely couple. Really enjoyed our time there. The next place we actually really quite liked was Bangalore or Bengaluru. Now, this is not the most typical place that travelers go when they go to India because it's very much city vibes. Apparently, it's the IT hub of India. Now, I've heard that Hyderabad is also taking on that role, but apparently Bengaluru or Bangalore, however you want to say it, is one of the places for young professionals to go. Again, there's not too much to see there other than the actual city. So if you're wanting kind of like tradition and culture, I would probably skip that. But we really liked Bangalore, and we'd probably go back. The next place we went to after that was, of course, Hampi. Now, Hampi is like something out of this world. It really is so different to everything we've seen on all of our travels, actually. If you've ever watched the Flintstones, Hampi looks exactly like what the Flintstones looks like. If I'm honest, it seems as though Flintstones was actually modeled from Hampi. It's like, I don't know how many thousands of years old, but it's like untouched. It's like pure history. It's like the most incredible landscapes. And unfortunately, we actually got ill. So we picked up our worst food poisoning of the trip in Hampi. So we only had 3 days there, but we spent 2 of those days in bed because we ate from what could only be described as a shed. It was a vegetarian thali. But we still got really super ill. So out of our whole Hampi trip, we spent 2 days in bed and only 1 day exploring. But that 1 day exploring, Hampi is incredible. It's such a nice place. The only issue is we did get a lot of attention there as we were walking around one of the main like temple areas. We got stopped every 5 seconds for photos, which the people were polite and they were nice, but we just wanted to enjoy the scenery and enjoy the sights, but we couldn't really because we kind of got stopped every 5 seconds. So I'm not sure whether or not they don't get many visitors there or not, but yeah, it kind of made a really pleasant place a little bit unpleasant, but I would still 100% recommend going there. Just don't say yes to photos because we made the mistake of saying yes. And as soon as you say yes to one person, then everyone else asks them. So you just got to be a bit blunt and say no, and then they'll leave you alone. The next place we went to after Hampi was, of course, Goa. Goa, love it. Goa is actually a state. Most people think of Goa as like a city or a beachside resort area, but it's actually the smallest state in India. So we went there in September, October time. So it's before the high season for Westerners. So I feel like Westerners start going there in November, December. But in October time, you get a lot of Indian tourists that come. They come on their holidays or from a break from work. So as we were there wasn't too many Westerners. There was a lot of Indian tourists, but Apart from a couple of instances where you had Indian men on the beach taking photos of Western white girls, which was really weird. What they'd basically do is they'd get these men, they'd walk around with their phones pretending to be on the phone or on FaceTime. And what they'd really be doing is actually taking photos of Western girls sunbathing on the beach. It actually happened to us, Beth. I caught a man doing it as he was walking around. He was pretending to be on the phone and just trying to record girls in bikinis, which was super, super weird and creepy. I do not condone that behavior at all. If anything, that ruined the trip because it was so annoying. If you are from India, please, if you ever see anyone taking photos of Western women on beaches, please try and stamp it out as soon as possible, because it's one of the biggest reasons that girls don't want to go to India, because they don't feel safe. So that is a top tip for any of you Indians watching. Please spread the word. Stop taking photos of Western women on the beach, because it's horrible behavior. And if that happened in other countries, they'd get dealt with very swiftly. But of course, I'm a tourist, so I couldn't exactly go and do what I would normally do if it happened in my country. But there are so many nice beaches in Goa. The food is incredible. The hotels are really nice, and it's basically India's little own slice of like tropical islands. It's not an island, but it feels like a tropical island. And it's definitely a place you should go if you're going to India. Most people go to Goa as a summer holiday, and I would definitely recommend it. Just get a nice hotel. Make sure you stay by one of the nice beaches, and you should have a really good time because you've got Indian food, and of course you've got nice beaches and nice hotels, so it's a good mix of the two. And then after that, we went up to Mumbai. Mumbai is honestly one of my favorite, if not my favorite place in India, next to Kochi. Mumbai had a really weird feel to it. So as like one of the biggest cities in India, it was a stark contrast from Delhi. Delhi is like one of the worst places to go, but Mumbai, honestly, of course, we stayed in South Mumbai near the Gateway of India, and that is, of course, you do have so many slums in Mumbai. But yeah, we stayed near the Gateway of India. We were actually just behind the Taj, but we didn't stay in the Taj. We stayed in a smaller hotel behind that. But compared to other big cities, Mumbai was really pleasant. It kind of almost had a European, like Parisian feel. The architecture of the buildings, I assume a lot of it may be built by the English when we were there, but it just had like a really nice modern side to it. There was a lot of young professionals. There was a lot of nice people. You didn't get scammed too much. And being a white Westerner, we didn't actually stand out too much. Whereas in places like Mysore or Delhi or Jaisalmer, being a tourist, you'd really stand out, and they would kind of like do as much as possible to kind of get as much money out of you or to follow you or pester you. So Mumbai really didn't feel like that. Mumbai felt, honestly, there was all these young professionals going to work, maybe finance, IT. There's a lot of money flying around Mumbai. There's lots of Ferraris and all that kind of stuff. So Mumbai was actually probably, Beth as well, our favorite place to go. And if we were to come back to India, we'd definitely go to Mumbai, because you kind of had everything you'd want from India whilst not getting too pestered and tried to scammed and stuff. So it's basically just a recipe for a really good India trip. After Mumbai, we then headed to Ahmedabad. Ahmedabad was okay. I wouldn't really recommend it too much. But after that, we went to Udaipur. Udaipur was really, really nice. You kind of get that North Indian feel. But again, it's a nice little city. You don't get pestered too much. It's not too hot. There are so many palaces, the water palace and all that kind of stuff. And we were there when a Navratri festival was on. And the people in the Navratri festival were incredible. Really, really enjoyed them. Great hospitality, great food. After Udaipur, we then went to Jodhpur, Jaipur, Jaisalmer. I hated Jodhpur. I didn't like Jaipur either. Blue and pink cities were not for me. If you want to know why I didn't like Jodhpur, please watch my previous video. Being honest, I hated both Jodhpur and Jaipur, but I really did like Jaisalmer. Jaisalmer was incredible. It's like everything you'd expect to see in like a typical Indian movie, the deserts, the forts, the palaces, all that kind of stuff. So with Jaisalmer, you'd actually stay inside the fort. So I don't know how many hundreds of years old this fort is, but it's like pristine. It should be a UNESCO World Heritage Site like Hampi. I'm not sure why it's not, but In Jaisalmer, you can then take day trips to the desert where you can sleep in the desert under the stars on small little beds. Basically, they'll pick you up from Jaisalmer Fort. You'll then get taken to the edge of the desert. You'll get a camel. So you'll ride the camel for a few hours right into the desert, and then you'll spend the night in the desert with hosts cooking your food, playing games, having drinks, and then you'll sleep under the stars in the desert with no security or anything, just with your camels and your hosts. Did in our India trip, it was like the quintessential kind of like typical Indian thing to do. It's the Indian you see on films and all that kind of stuff. So I'd 100% recommend going to Jaisalmer and of course doing the overnight camel trip. Now, last but not least, of course, we went to Delhi. Again, I really didn't like Delhi. Delhi is not a nice place to go to for girls or even just normal tourists. So if you are going to go to Delhi, just bear in mind the fact that it's incredibly busy, overpopulated. You'll get scams left, right and centre, and it's just not a nice place for tourists to go. But of course, you can then go to the Taj Mahal in Agra, which is actually around a 3-hour journey from Delhi. So it's not as close as people think. Of course, the Taj Mahal it's one of the wonders of the world. Of course, you've probably seen photos of it on Google, on Instagram, on the TV. So you might feel like you already know it and you feel like you can skip it. We were actually really close to skipping it. We thought, do we really need to go? Is it going to be a tourist trap? Of course, there are so many tourists there. It does get really busy. It's quite hectic, but it is quite magnificent. It's a really cool building. And of course, it's just one of the wonders of the world. So there's only 7 wonders in the world. Tick it off, definitely go there if you are around the area. It's just a really nice thing to go and do and see. But yeah, if you are going to go to India, definitely go to Kochi, definitely go to Hampi, obviously go to Goa, definitely don't skip Mumbai. If you have got time, go to Udaipur and of course go to Jaisalmer and do the desert tours because they are some incredible places and we really enjoyed them. So that is pretty much it for the video. Of course, like I said, it's just some places I loved in India. I thought it was only fair because I did places I hated in India. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you want any more information on any of these places, do let me know because we did spend 7 weeks in India. I'll give you a full breakdown of places to avoid and places to go. But yeah, I mean, if we have any Indians in the audience, if you want to leave comments down below on places you recommend, please do let us know because I just did the typical south to northeast India. There are so many other places in India. It's a huge country. So yeah, any Indians in the audience, please do comment below and let me know places to go that I've missed or places to go that I haven't been before. So yeah, I guess that's it. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.